Long ago, in a faraway land, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella was kind and smart and beautiful. When Cinderella was very young, she had a happy life. Then one day, her mother died. Soon after, her father decided to marry again. The woman he married had 2 daughters of her own, Lottie and Dottie. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were not kind. Cinderella's stepmother gave her daughters beautiful gowns of the finest silk and dazzling jewels and toys. To Cinderella, she gave nothing. Then, sadly, Cinderella's father died too. Cinderella was left all alone in the large house with her 2 mean stepsisters and awful stepmother. Cinderella's life was hard. Her stepmother made Cinderella a servant in her own home. Every morning, Cinderella had to rise before dawn to do the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, the baking, and the gardening, as well as take orders from Lottie and Dottie all day long. By the end of the day, Cinderella was so exhausted she would occasionally fall fast asleep, curled up by the fire amid the cinder and ashes. This is why she was called Cinderella. Though her clothes were tattered and her face and hair were covered in ashes and soot, Cinderella was still beautiful and had a kind and cheerful heart. Lottie and Dottie teased Cinderella all the time. "Your clothes look like dirty diapers," Lottie would shriek. "Your face looks like a bucket of mud," Dottie would say. Then they would laugh and eat chocolates and ham sandwiches while watching Cinderella work. Cinderella's stepsisters were as ugly on the inside as they were on the outside. One day, a page from the castle arrived at the house with an invitation.
"The prince is hosting a grand ball in 3 days' time. He is hoping to find a bride. Every eligible young woman shall come and meet the prince."
Lottie and Dottie were very excited. "I'm going to marry the prince," Lottie exclaimed. "Why should you marry the prince? You look like a rotten potato," Dottie shouted. Lottie and Dottie were just about to get into a very large fight when they heard Cinderella ask, "Can I go to the ball?" For a moment the 2 sisters stared at each other. Then they laughed so hard they rolled around on the floor. "You go to the ball?" Dottie chortled. "That's the silliest thing I've ever heard," Lottie giggled. "Can you imagine our Cinderella married to the prince?" Dottie exclaimed, which made the girls laugh even harder.
"Girls, what is going on here?"
Cinderella's stepmother yelled as she entered the room. The girls stopped laughing long enough to tell their mother what had happened.
"Don't be silly. Of course Cinderella may go to the ball," said the stepmother.
The girls were very confused. This they did not expect. Lottie and Dottie began to protest, when their mother continued,
"She may go to the ball if all of her chores are completed and she has sewn herself a new dress."
All that day, and the next, and the next, Cinderella's stepmother gave Cinderella a long list of chores to do. Every day, from morning until night, Cinderella scrubbed and mopped and polished. There was no time to make a new dress. The night of the ball, Lottie and Dottie dressed up in their finest gowns and followed their mother out the door to the waiting carriage. Cinderella silently watched them go. She did not have a new dress, so she could not go to the ball. Sadly, Cinderella wandered out to the garden. There she sat down on the bench and cried. Suddenly, poof! A little old lady with wings and a wand was floating right in front of Cinderella. "Cinderella," said the lady, "I am your fairy godmother. Since it is your wish, you will go to the ball." "But how?" asked Cinderella. "I have no dress, and no way to get there." "Run, quick, and fetch me 4 mice, a pumpkin, and a lizard from the garden." Cinderella did so as fast as she could. First the fairy godmother touched the pumpkin. Poof! The pumpkin was transformed into a dazzling coach. Next, she touched the 4 mice. Poof! The 4 mice became 4 beautiful, proud, white horses. Then the fairy godmother touched the lizard. Poof! The lizard turned into a stately coachman in uniform. Cinderella was very surprised, to say the least. "Now," said the fairy godmother, "since you are so kind and smart, I will make you as beautiful on the outside as you are on the inside." The fairy godmother touched her wand to Cinderella's torn dress, and poof! Cinderella's rags became a beautiful ball gown. On Cinderella's feet were 2 delicate glass slippers. "Enjoy yourself at the ball," said the fairy godmother, "but be warned, my magic will end at midnight, and everything will be as it was before." "Oh, thank you, thank you!" cried Cinderella as she climbed into her coach and sped off to the castle. When Cinderella arrived at the ball, everyone stared at her. She was the most beautiful woman there. She looked so different that even her stepsisters and stepmother did not know who she was. The prince thought she was beautiful too. When he talked to her, he also discovered that she was kind, smart, and funny too. The prince danced with Cinderella all night long. And Cinderella had never had so much fun. Suddenly, Cinderella noticed that the clock was about to strike midnight. "I've had a lovely evening," Cinderella told the prince, "but I really must go now." With that she gathered up her skirts and fled the castle, leaving the prince very distraught. "Wait!" he cried. "I don't even know your name." He chased after her, but Cinderella had vanished into the night. Then the prince found a glass slipper on the stair. In Cinderella's haste to leave, the slipper had fallen off of her foot, and she didn't have time to go back for it. The prince had a great idea. "I will search every house in my kingdom. I will find the woman who fits this slipper, and I will marry her." "I most certainly will," Cinderella replied. "You are as handsome on the inside as you are on the outside." Soon after, Cinderella and the prince were married, and Cinderella moved to the castle. Everyone lived happily